Hello my fellow 4th generation augmented humans. Are you playing Armored Core 6 and thinking to yourself, man, I wish my AC played more like Dark Souls? Well, you're in luck, because today I have a build for you that showcases the true power of a melee focused mech in Armored Core, and lets you fulfill that power fantasy of slicing up giant militarized robots with an energy sword. I always end up doing the same thing with every Armored Core game I play. I start off, create a super lightweight sword-wielding mech, I get crushed by the first boss, and then I give up and equip some heavy cannons instead. And I'll be honest, I did the same thing in my first playthrough of Armored Core 6. But then I started experimenting with some hyper-focused melee builds, and I soon discovered that if you build an AC correctly, you can juice up your melee attack power so much that it hits harder than any heavy cannon ever could. In this video, I'm going to cover all the parts that I've been using to maximize my speed and melee damage, as well as the weaponry I chose and my OS tuning. I'm not going to say this build puts the game on easy mode, but after I got the hang of it, I started clearing bosses faster than I ever did with my other builds, and winning some pretty satisfying arena PvP matches as well. To start this off, I'll cover the AC frame I've been using. To be honest, the only part on the frame that is really important for the build is the arms, which provide the highest melee damage bonus in the game. So you can pick a different head, legs, and core if you want a different look. This is just what I've been using. The important thing is that you want to keep this mech lightweight, so for your total weight, make sure to stay below 62,000 units. For my head, I've equipped the VP-44D, an arquebus headpiece with relatively high AP and stability for its weight class. As my core part, I'm using the 01061 Mind Alpha chest piece, which you can unlock by collecting combat logs after mini-boss fights. This core has good defenses, solid AP values, and a nice generator boost. Plus, in my opinion, it just looks really nice, almost like a suit of plate armor. Now for the important part of this frame, it's the arms. On this build, I'm running the AAJ123 Basho, and what these babies lack in fashion appeal, they more than make up for in pure melee striking power. These arms have a very low firearm specialization, so they're not good at all for shooting guns, but they have 158 points in melee specialization, meaning your melee attack power is boosted through the roof. I think the second highest that I've seen is 133 points. So these are the true melee specialist arms in Armored Core 6. Like I said before, these are the only really important piece on the frame. So make sure that you pick these if you're making a melee build, and thank me later. I also believe that they're unlocked very early, so you can use them for basically the entire game. Finally, for my legs, I'm running the EL-TL10 Firmeza, a lightweight set of bipedal legs that keep you moving fast while also providing a pretty high load limit. I tried this with the lightweight reverse joint legs as well, and personally I found it easier to stay on target with melee when using the biped legs, so I wasn't jumping over my target all the time. Next up, we're moving on to the internals of this AC build, starting with the boosters, which is another fairly important part on this setup because we're looking to maximize evasiveness and melee attack range as much as possible. For my choice, I go with the Alula 21E boosters, a very lightweight part that is purely specialized in powerful quick boost thrust and extending your melee attack tracking distance. These are unlocked pretty early, and they really speed up your dodge and increase your melee tracking range by quite a bit. You will immediately notice a difference if you haven't tried them before, and you'll be hitting melee attacks from way farther away than you're used to. There's a few other lightweight boosters, but this one is my personal favorite because it is spec'd fully to allow for up close and personal engagements. As you can see here, the ideal weight for dodging on this booster is around 62,000 units, so keep your mech below this threshold for maximum performance. Next, for the FCS in this build, you want to run the FC006 Abbott, a purely close combat focused FCS that sacrifices everything else in favor of fast close range tracking. This FCS is amazing in any close combat build, but for melee attacks, the high close range tracking will basically let your AC auto aim their melee attacks when you can't even see the enemy. Finally, for my generator, I'm running the VP-20C, the most well balanced generator in the game. This allows you to have enough energy to equip 2 high power melee weapons and still have enough leftover power for boosting. You can also try the VP20S as well to shave off some more weight, but I've had pretty good success with this one. And now we move on to the weaponry of this melee AC build, starting off with the 2 melee weapons that I carry on my personal setup. Keep in mind that because this build boosts all melee damage, you can add whatever melee weapons you prefer. I just like these ones. For anyone who doesn't know, you can unlock the weapon bay using OS tuning points, and this allows you to equip hand weapons in your back slots, and you can quick swap to them at any time. The swapping speed is quite fast, so once you get the hang of it, you can very easily strike with one weapon and then quick swap and hit them again. In my left hand, I'm running the VE67 LLA Laser Lance, a melee weapon which allows you to dash forward a very surprising distance and strike enemies with a spear thrust, and you can hit twice with it if you charge up the attack. This weapon is amazing for closing the distance with the long dash move, and it builds up a hefty amount of impact on a charge attack. In my left back slot, I'm running the default HI-32 Pulse Blade, the Butter Knife. In my opinion, I actually like this one more than the Laser Blade or the Moonlight Blade because of its attack pattern. The wide cross slashes which hit a large area and allow you to attack 2 times before overheating. It's a simple classic blade, and when powered up with the Basho arms, it hits just as hard as any other melee weapon. Now for my other weapons, in the right hand I'm running the Werger 66E laser shotgun. Now this little beauty might not look like much, but let me tell you, it's a sleeper hit. This shotgun is extremely light, and it fires a tight spread of laser beams at close range targets. Unlike other shotguns, you can also fire it several times before needing to recharge, increasing your close range pressure and DPS by quite a bit. This thing also has a special charged attack which essentially turns it into a right-hand melee weapon, with a quick charge up time that allows you to thrust forward and stab with a concentrated laser beam. This weapon is kind of amazing for building up impact damage while your melee weapons recharge, and after staggering an enemy, the charge attack hits them like a freight train. Overall, this thing is just really fun, and I highly recommend it. Now finally, for my last back weapon, I would say this piece is really up to personal preference, but you do need to keep it kinda lightweight. I've just been running the P32 Duo 03 dual missile launcher. It has quick lock on, it fires fast missiles, and it resets quickly. Overall, it's a great choice for a lightweight pressure building weapon. Now finally, we come to the OS tuning on this build. And while it should be pretty obvious to everyone in attendance that you basically just need to maximize your melee damage and your energy weapon damage for the laser shotgun, and then you're good to go. For system unlocks, you obviously need the weapon base so you can equip 2 melee weapons. And I would also unlock the quick turn for faster melee movement and the boost kick so you have an extra melee attack to do when you're rushing enemies. For core expansions, I take pulse armor so I have a backup in case I take big damage. But honestly, assault armor would actually work really well here too. This would allow you to dash in, melee attack, then explode with assault armor and devastate the enemy. For attack control points, you want to maximize energy weapons, melee weapons, and direct hit damage. If you have leftover points, you can dump some into explosives for the missiles, but these ones are super important for maximizing your burst damage on your melee hits and on the shotgun. Finally, for damage control, I would say you want to maximize your damage mitigation to make up for low defenses, and then repair kit healing helps out as well for when you do get nailed by a powerful hit. And that more or less covers it for my melee specialist AC. And let me tell you, I was very surprised at just how hard this build can hit when you land a charged melee attack against a staggered boss. I found it incredibly satisfying to zip around the battlefield and slice everything up, or demolish them with a single laser lance hit. It's just so much fun once you get the hang of it. The melee-focused pounce and retreat playstyle on this build reminded me of watching my cat hunt out in the yard, so I named this one Lilith and picked a color scheme to match my favorite feline. I hope you enjoy the build, and let me know how this setup works for you. Thanks for checking out the video. I've got links to my Twitch stream and Discord server down below for anyone interested. And until next time, stay safe out there, everyone.